Hey there, welcome to LSAT Demon Daily. I'm Nathan Fox, that's Ben Olson. We're the founders of lsatdemon.com and our weekly podcast, Thinking LSAT. We have an email here from Amir. The subject is 3-year K through JD.
Okay. Hello, writes Amir. I wanted to get your opinion on being a KJD with plans on graduating in 3 years and directly applying to law school. I started studying with the Demon in November, and I'm in the mid-160s. And I imagine that with my current progress, I will break 170 soon. My goal is a T14 in Big Law. I am doing fine with GPA as I have a 4.01. In high school, I did a summer program at university that gave me an A+.
There it is. Yeah, those A pluses, I mean, it's weird. Not all schools offer them, but LSAC counts them if you get them. So that's great.
Yeah. Amir continues, I also have some leadership roles and internships that I'm passionate about that build a clear public interest story. Okay, but you want to do Big Law. Anyways.
Good catch. I didn't even really catch that. I mean, why do you want to do Big Law if you want to do public interest?
They're kind of opposites.
They literally will be in court on opposite sides. It's going to be, Big Law is going to be there representing ExxonMobil.
Mm-hmm.
And the public interest lawyers are going to be representing the environment on the other side.
Amir continues, I will have enough credits to meet the minimum number to have a calculated LSAT GPA.
Okay.
I am a traditional student at my state's flagship public university. The reason I'm graduating early is 41 transfer credits from high school AP classes. Thank you so much.
So there's no actual question there.
I was waiting for the question. Yeah,
I will return to the first sentence, which said, I wanted to get your opinion on being a K through JD with these plans.
So there's a question. Yeah.
What do we think?
Hey, look, you got the GPA. It sounds like you're going to get into the 170s soon. You sound like a candidate who could probably get even into the mid to high 170s potentially. So I hope that your timeline doesn't shortchange your opportunity on the LSAT, especially since your goal is T14 and Big Law. Maybe having extra time after you graduate to really bring up your score could help you given your aspirations. My biggest hesitation is that people who go from K all the way through to JD is that they never get the experience they need to confirm that law school truly is the right path for them. You're so focused on accomplishing a goal quickly that you fail to give yourself enough time to really decide whether that's the right goal, which I think is more important.
We've talked a lot in the past about this Vanderbilt Law Review article by Patrick J. Schlitz with the title on being a happy, healthy, and ethical member of an unhappy, unhealthy, and unethical profession. And I fear, I mean, it's a fact that lawyers overall are very unhappy. It's a fact.
Yeah.
Why are they so unhappy? Well, I think in a lot of cases, it's because they don't know what they're getting themselves into.
Yeah, there's a disconnect between the goal and the outcome. Yeah.
And who doesn't know what they're getting themselves into? Well, K through JDs, for one thing. I mean, like, you've not experienced enough of life elsewhere for it even to be possible for you to know. Like, you just don't have the perspective of what the world is really like. You've never had a full-time job.
Yeah.
Specifically for somebody who, has this internships that I'm passionate about that build a clear public interest story, but I want to go into Big Law.
It almost sounds like this has purely been set up to look good for admissions.
I guess, yeah.
Amir, I'm sorry for if that's an accusation that's wrong, but it almost feels that way because you're like, hey, I want to go into Big Law, but I've built a clear public interest story.
So it's
instead
fake.
Of, yeah, is it a
no,
story?
But he says I'm passionate about that.
He does say that. Yeah.
So what is it, Amir? I mean, I will tell you that, if you try to apply to law school's public interest, most law schools, especially in the top 14, they're going to push you in the direction of big law.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they do. That's their
Mm-hmm.
customer, is the big
Mm-hmm.
law firms. So they're going to try to push you toward big law. My concern would be that, Jesus Christ, you're going to be 21 going straight into big law with no perspective on what the outside world is really like. They're going to work you to the bone. And I'm worried that you are going to end up being an unhappy, unhealthy, and potentially unethical member of an unhappy, unhealthy, and unethical profession.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's how the system is kind of structured. I mean, they're going to.
Your environment is pushing you in that direction.
The
Not that
moneyed
you will do
interests.
it, but.
Hey, the only reason why anybody wants to go into big law is because of the money.
Yeah.
I mean, literally. Have you ever heard is there any other reason to want to go into big law besides the money?
There must be some people who enjoy it, but
Prestige, I suppose. But
yeah.
Or experience so that you can later do other stuff. But the main draw of big law is the big money. People want, I want to make $220,000 starting salary. And that's probably what somebody like Amir is interested in. Otherwise, why the hell would you want to subject yourself to, you really want to work? What's the thing? I was just reading about the thing in China, 996 culture. Have you heard of that?
No, not at all.
9 a.m. to 9 p.m., 6 days a week.
Holy shit.
And apparently the young people in China are really unhappy about this and rebelling. But that wouldn't be unusual in big law.
Wait a sec. So that's the norm now, and young people are saying, hey, I don't want to work that much, or young people are, okay.
Yeah, young people are starting to sort of rebel against the 996
that can't
culture.
Be productive. That cannot be.
Well, certainly terrible. Can't be healthy.
It's not healthy, but also the last, at least 3, potentially 5 hours of your day, you're just like a shit machine that's just like creating slop like AI.
Yeah. Well, hey, that's what the big law firms definitely do, though. I mean, 12-hour days, 6 days a week, that's nothing for big law. So that is exactly what big law is about. And I would just worry that, man, they're just gonna work Amir, like a slave. You're not actually a slave. You're getting paid huge money. You just don't have any time or freedom in which to enjoy that money because you're on call 24 hours a day.
Well, and your expenses go up because you try to keep up with your fellow coworkers.
Totally. No, you're making nothing at the firm. You're the poorest one at the firm. Among the lawyers. You're by far the poorest one among the lawyers. Plus, you also might have incurred $250,000 worth of debt in law school because you were so interested in going down this big law route. So now you've got this huge debt you have to service. Plus, you've got colleagues that are wearing Armani and driving Mercedes and
you can't show up in your Honda Civic. It doesn't fit the role.
Yeah. No, can't do that. You need to be hand stitched and driving a fancy car. And so you thought you were going to pay off your loans in the first couple of years because you're making so much money, but actually you're barely servicing the debt because you're incurring these huge expenses. I would tell Amir, it's your life and you have to make that decision. But there's really no upside to being K through JD with only 3 years in college. There's no upside to it other than becoming a 996 big law employee sooner. It doesn't seem very appealing to me. And I do think there's significant downside. But I won't bore you with the downside. I would just refer you to this law review article. Again, we'll link to it in the show notes. It's from the Vanderbilt Law Review. It's coming up on 30 years old now, this law review article, but it's again called On Being a Happy, Healthy, and Ethical Member of an Unhappy, Unhealthy, and Unethical Profession. This is a law professor saying this profession is unhappy, unhealthy, and unethical. And I would encourage you to read it. And if you still want to do what you're planning on doing, Amir, then you sound like a great candidate. But, it is not for everybody. So please make sure you give that read it with an open heart and consider it before you make any life-changing decisions.
And even if you go into the profession, knowing that is going to help you be much more consciously aware of the system that is pushing you in that direction so that you can avoid it. So we're not telling you to read this to say, don't go to law school. We're telling you to read this so that if you go, you're way less likely to fall into the traps that everyone else is blindly just walking right into because they don't even realize. They think, oh, it's so great. And it's just this utopia. It's like, no, it's not.
We're probably going to get a bunch of hate mail for this episode because, you know, people are so used to people out there selling the dream. And the law schools definitely sell the dream. And a lot of LSAT teachers and law school admissions consultants, you know, they're super happy to just sell the dream of law school. But that's not what you're going to get at the LSAT Demon or the Thinking LSAT podcast. You're going to get straight talk from me and Ben. Both of us went to law school. Neither of us would have wanted to have legal careers. You know, coming out of it, we look at it and we go, boy, what were we even thinking? Why were we there?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know I've told you this story before and I've told it on the podcast. So some people might have heard it if you've listened a lot, but I just still remember walking into the room on Christmas Day. My kids were opening presents. There was it's a little chaotic. You know, we had 4 kids. And then my wife is like, hey, best friend's husband, just got called into the office. Oh, big law. And I just remember sitting there being like, well, I'm not doing that. Sorry. Wow. What's so pressing that you got to come in on Christmas morning? Day. And their family had 4 kids too. So,
hey, it's a merger, you know, it's a big deal between giant corporations and
it has to happen today. Yeah.
It has to happen. The shareholders demand it. So anyway, thank you, Amir, for writing in. Man, how old do you think Amir is?
20?
Yeah. I know that I would be unhappy and unethical if I just like blithely said, oh yeah, Amir, this is a great plan. Sign up for LSAT Demon and we'll get you a 178 so you can definitely go to big law. It would be much easier for me to say that. And it would be, I think, better financially for me to say that. But I enjoy sleeping soundly at night. So I'm not going to be delivering that message, even if it means we get a bunch of hate mail. Sorry.
Thanks for writing in, Amir. Email daily at lsatdemon.com if you'd like to ask us a question or share some LSAT or law school admissions news. Thanks for listening.